In this segment, we're going to take all these different pieces of our music player and put them together into one comprehensive MP3 player. You'll remember we have a routine that gets the music out of the XML and figures out what the title, composer, time, and file name is for each entry. We have a JavaScript that's got our XML in it, and we have our file that actually plays, pauses, stops, lets you adjust the time, etc. for the actual piece. We can go ahead and test this one in the browser once again. Test in Firefox here. In Chrome. Grab that and pull that over. And there goes the music. We can use the slider, etc. So now what we want to do is add the ability to look up the music from the XML, from the JavaScript, and allow the user to choose. So the first thing I want to do is add this routine to this particular file. This is going to remain our main file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put down here a div for the music list. And I'm going to grab this function content right here. And I'm going to move this into a function called getMusicList. Oops, don't need those because I copied those from before. All right. So there we have just about everything we need. Let me just check and make sure there were no globals. Nope. We also need to move this guy, so we include the actual XML. All right, I think we've got everything now. Only thing we need to do here is call getMusicList at the end of the onload. And I'm also going to change this to not result because we called it here music list. And this would be an excellent time to test and make sure this works the way we think it will. All right, good. So we have our music list. Now, I'm looking at our music list and I'm thinking that probably all we need is the name of the song right here and the artist. We don't necessarily need the time or the file name. So let's go ahead and let's remove those from the output. So I'm simply going to do that, which will remove that information from the output. So here we've got the title and the composer. But I am also going to need, if the user clicks on this, the file name. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add here an on-click event like this. And we're going to pass here to song select, which will be the function that we'll write. We're going to pass the file name. So we'll close that here, plus file name, plus single quote closing parenthesis. And then I'm going to write the song select method right here, just to make sure we're getting the actual file name. So this takes the file name as an argument, and this should log it out. All right, so now we can check and make sure we're doing this right so far. So here's our file, and let's open the console. So where is our console? Let's go up here, View, Developer, Developer tools. Good enough. And now let's click. Oh, and we got, looks like an error right there, an uncaught error, unexpected token. So let's go ahead and find that particular error, and then we can make this work. Up, and I can tell already we've got kind of a problem here with the way we're building this particular line. So we have open quotes, single quotes, close quotes. And so what we need to actually do here is this one should be an open quote. This one should be a double quote. So what we need to do is escape it as a double quote like that, and then escape it as another double quote in here. So this way we go from single to double, and then we need another single quote right there. I always have difficulty doing that. Not easy. All right, let's go ahead and boom. Now we're getting the proper file names. So that's good news. Now that we're getting the file name, now we can actually pass that file name into some kind of play sequence. So right now, you'll recall that we set the actual song that's played, or the source, dynamically. Let's go ahead and take these source attributes out. Just comment them out like that. And let's set the source when we actually click one of these elements. So our player, let's make sure it's global so we can access it. It is. So here, what I'm going to do is grab the player element, document, get element by ID, player, and then we've got to set the source element or source attribute, source equals fn. Once we've done that, then we can go ahead and call, even if the user hasn't called play, we can call the play music function. So here, we'll call play music. So again, what's happening here is we're getting the song based on what the user clicks from the chart or the table passed in here to song select as fn. We're then using that to set the source and playing the music. Okay, and before we actually try this, let me just change this to src because that's the correct name of the attribute that we're trying to access here. And now, without further ado, let's try it here in Chrome. All right, so I'm going to hit the, and there we go. There's some Gershwin, some Beethoven, some Rachmaninoff, and Chopin. So this all works just fine. Now, the only thing left I want to do is go ahead and actually create a little more visual interest here in the player. So in our music list ID, we can actually here use a little CSS. So let's go below our scripts right here. And let's use some CSS. So we're going to use a style tag. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab inside of music list. I think that's how I did it. Music list. Yep. We're going to grab, first of all, the table data elements. And we're going to give them a border. 1 pixel, solid black. And immediately I'm going to just refresh here. And oh, looks like we got some kind. Oh, yeah. That's not right. It's music list TD. Got a little verbose there. All right, a little too much code. Now let's see this looks. All right. So this looks pretty good. Now, I think what I want to do next is I want to add to that a little bit of padding. Loosen that up a little bit, so 3 pixels all the way around. And let's also add music list td hover. So when the user hovers over it, we get a background color. Let's use something in the red family. So let's use like, let's do 990000. And let's also make our text color, in that case, white. Let's see how that does. There we go. So now the user has more feedback as far as what they're clicking on. Now these aren't clickable. So I think we're going to change this up right here. Remember when we built the table right here? And instead of making title and composer separate, we're going to put title space by composer and make it one large cell. There we go. So now any of these are clickable, just like that. We've got our buttons up here, and you have the complete code for an MP3 player written in HTML, JavaScript, and with a little CSS.